So much. I appreciate you letting me be here. I am going to quickly share my screen so that you can see this. I do have a little presentation. It's nothing too crazy, but I do want to bring it up so you can see it. So let me just pop that in here. And this is something that I actually teach in a day. So when I work with my clients, I teach them how to create 1 year of marketing content in 5 days. And my name is Elizabeth Pampalone, as he said, and I have a company called Absolute Marketing. And what we do there is that 1 year content in 5 days. And really what that does is allows us to create all the content you need so that you're not scrounging around every day, every other day. Oh, whoops, put the wrong one up there. And so it's about creating the content you need so that you actually have it done and you don't have to worry about, all those extra things. And it can actually free up your brain to be more creative and to be more productive. I find that if you have so much to do and so much on your plate that's creative and you don't have a lot that is, like you don't have a lot of room in your brain to actually do your job, it can be really overwhelming and it can actually cause almost like analysis paralysis in some ways. So I want to go switch to, so I'm not sure if you can see me or the screen. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Awesome. And what we're going to talk about today is creating a connected brand. So like I said, my name is Elizabeth Pampalone. I've been doing this for a long time, and branding is like the foundational piece, and I love this piece. So I also have a podcast, which I talk about branding a lot. So if you want to check that out, it's 2 minutes long, and I think it'll be really helpful. All right. Your brand is a foundation. I feel like it's kind of the soul of your company. It's like that essence. It's the thing where people go, I'm connected to that now. I get that. I understand it. I love it. And it makes sense to me. And it doesn't matter, who you are. You connect with a brand somewhere, right? It might be a personal brand. Like we don't say that Kim Kardashian's a person anymore. She's a brand. And so you might connect with her as a person, as a personal brand, right? Or maybe you might connect with the mission of a nonprofit and you're connected with their brand, their message. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how you actually achieve all those pieces. But really, you want to just make sure you know what a brand is. And it really has to do with the message, could be the colors, it could be all those things, but it is the piece that people see first and that they connect with first emotionally. All right, so strong brands obviously have really clear missions. Nike is one of the most perfect examples. Oops, sorry about that. Nike's one of the most perfect examples. They have great mission, memorable logo. Obviously, everybody knows what that is. They also have consistent branding. Now, I think you have probably never seen anything that Nike has done that hasn't been consistently branded. If you see a jacket that's theirs, it's got the Nike swoosh on it. If you see an image that's theirs, it's got the Nike swoosh on it. So they're consistent. It's on their website, it's on their social, it's on their email marketing, it's everywhere. And they have a defined audience. Now, you might look at their mission statement and say, okay, this defined audience is not really defined. It's kind of broad, right? Because that's one hallmark of a brand. Defined audience here says bringing inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And there's a little asterisk and it says, if you have a body, you are an athlete. So what they've done is they've said our niche is athletes. Okay, so they're saying that it's athletes. But if you look in their photos, even if they say, if you have a body, you're an athlete, that's kind of the feel-good line, right? If you look in their photos and on all of their campaigns, who do they feature? Athletes. They feature real live, bona fide athletes. They're featuring people who are sponsoring with them, right? Who are part of their sponsorships, like swimmers, tennis players, football players, baseball players, golfers. Like they're featuring actual athletes. Now, what does this mean for the average Joe, right? This means that you probably aspire to be one of these people. Not everyone does, but some people aspire to be athletes. And it might be a kid who just got his first set of golf clubs. It might be, excuse me, a young girl who is, trying out for the first time for her swim team, and she's got one of those Nike swim caps. It might even be someone who is maybe in their 40s or 30s, and they're like playing tennis every day and they love it. And they're like, I want to do more of this. I want to play. I love the game. I love being out there on the court. And what's going to help me with my game? Is it going to be better equipment? Is it going to be better gear? So do you see how we're really like honing in on this person? It might be a young person. It might be an older person. It might be someone in their 50s. It might be someone in their 60s. It doesn't matter what the age is in this particular circumstance. They're probably targeting mostly people who have disposable income. So people probably from 30 to 50. But in their photos, it's all young, well-built, people who have like spent so much time on their bodies, athletes, right? They are the people that you look up to and go, that's what I want to work towards. And so they have built this brand around this idea of what we want to be. Not that we could all ever achieve that, but the fact that we even want to, the fact we want to try. And so when you look at this brand, you buy into it emotionally. Now for me, I'm not an athlete, and I don't necessarily buy into the whole athletic thing. It's just not my thing. But they do make a good visor. I will say that. And I'm more of a tactile person. So if I go in a store and I see the Nike visor and I see the regular old no name brand visor, and I feel both of them and Nike's feels better to me, I'm going to buy Nike's. And then to me, Nike becomes something different. It becomes something of quality, because I had two things in my hand that were identical. One was made by Nike and one wasn't. And when I felt them, I determined that Nike had more quality than the other one based on what I use as qualifiers. So when you're looking at these brands, they might have their main niche, right? The athletes, the tennis players, the football players, the golfers. But then they also get people like me who could care less about sports. I know you're probably all hating me for saying that. Could care less about sports. But I do like Nike's quality. And I will probably, if I need some kind of athletic wear for some reason, I will probably look at Nike first before something else, because I deem them to be of quality. So when you are looking at building your own brand, keep some of these things in mind. All right, let's go to the next slide here. And I usually use this as a Q&A. So I'm going to ask Brian to come back up here and see if he can he can help me out with this one. Why do you need a strong brand? I think you need a strong brand because you want someone to be able to recognize you no matter what. They see something that is like barely yours and they know that it's you. So let's look at this picture here.
Okay.
And tell me if you think of a brand that this reminds you of.
The first one, IKEA is all I can think of right now. That's the first.
Okay, IKEA is a good one. I do get that one a lot when people see this image. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I was actually going for, I'll do the big reveal, ta-da, is this one. Joanna Gaines.
Okay.
Fixer Upper. She has like Magnolia, the Silos, Waco, Texas, the whole thing, right?
Yes. Huge.
I'm going to go back to the other image real quick. So you see what she's got here. She's got some whitewashed wood. She's got some like natural woods, wrought iron. Yeah. Okay. Very farmhouse, very rustic, right?
Right.
Come back here. We got that white painted wood. We got some natural fibers. We got some grays. Got that shiplap floor.
Yes.
It looks very like it goes with her, right? Like it kind of is like what you call on brand.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch back and forth. But guess what? This is a stock photo.
Huh?
It's a regular old stock photo.
Okay.
And these are photos from her website.
Wow.
So these are ones that they had taken, from the site. But the thing is, people do usually come up and say, oh, Joanna Gaines, Magnolia. They kind of throw that in there as one of the brands that people throw around when I ask the question. And the reason is because it looks enough like her that you get that idea, right? Or even the IKEA brand. This could even go for IKEA, but it's a stock photo. And the reason I mention this is because even if you think your brand is so specific or so niche, you can still use photos that were already taken that weren't for you that look like they're for you. But you have to pick the right ones. You can't just pick any old photo, right?
Yeah.
So having a strong brand, I could say, okay, here's Joanna Gaines. She has a multi-million-dollar brand, almost as big as like Oprah, right? And she's a multi-million-dollar brand, yet I can associate her and have others associate her with a stock photo that was free. So the fact that she has such a strong brand, that can actually be done. And it can actually make me think of her when I don't even see any evidence of her. Her logo is not on this picture. Her name is not on this picture. But when I see it, I think of her. And so, for example, when I was teaching some networking meetings, I wore green. I always wear green. So I'm wearing green today. I always have green with me at some point in any photo or video that I do. And when I was actually doing networking meetings, I did the same thing. I would wear green like on stage. And I had people just come up to me over and over and over, and they would say, I saw your green in such and such store the other day. I was nowhere to be found. I wasn't stalking them. I had not just called them. I hadn't seen them for almost a month until they, when they were at this point in the store or whatever. And they said, oh, you should go to this store. They have this green dress, or they have this green jacket, or, whatever. And they were trying to tell me I should go buy this thing. But the fact that they actually were in a store on their personal time, not thinking about me, right? Like I was just this networking person they knew from business, like business colleague, right?
Yeah.
And they actually thought of me because a color triggered them to. That is strong branding.
Yeah.
I popped up in their mind, and they didn't even think about me until they were like, oh, Elizabeth's green. And it's Kelly green. I mean, come on, it's not like it's that uncommon. But it's now become my green in their mind because of how strong I've branded myself with that color. So that being said, I love this quote by Woodrow Wilson. You're here to enrich the world. And so when we create our own brand, it allows us to do that and allows us to be strong in that. So I actually believe that people should have business plans. So thank you, Brian, for playing along. I believe people should have business plans, and actually they increase your likelihood of success with your business by 50%. Having it in your mind only is not enough. You need to have it written down. And I can speak to this from total experience. This is something that I actually did in the beginning of my career, and I didn't have things written down. And I can definitely tell you where things started to fail or go wrong. So definitely want to have a business plan. If you don't have one, I wrote a one-page business plan with a colleague of mine, and we have like a tutorial on how to fill it out. It takes about an hour. And it also helps you decide if something is a viable idea, because you might have this great brand in your mind or great offer in your mind, but it might actually not work. And we want to know that before we get started on all that stuff, right? So before we put all this time and effort and energy into it. So I believe strongly in business plans. Even if you just do one page, it's perfect. All right, so a good business plan will have these elements. And then I actually like to focus on these two. These are your branding elements right here. The first three really are, but these first two are really your branding elements. So let me actually go back. This is Starbucks' mission statement, and I love it. To inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And if you look at this, Starbucks is embodying this wholeheartedly. They inspire and nurture the human spirit. Okay, so they try and do social justice type things. They're into a lot of social activities. They also have great music in their stores, and they have their staff is really nice, all these kind of things, right? Then they say one person. Okay, so they want to look at you, the individual, and say, when you come in, we want to nurture and inspire you. One cup, when you come in, you're having that one cup of coffee. Even if it's just one cup of coffee with us, we want it to be nurturing and inspiring. And one neighborhood at a time. This is very telling. How many Starbucks can you count within a probably 5 to 10 mile radius of your house? You should probably look it up on Google. There's probably a lot. And the reason they don't say one city at a time, one strip mall at a time, right? One exit off of 95 at a time. They're saying one neighborhood, because there could be a Starbucks 5 minutes from another Starbucks. But they're viewing it not as cities, like, well, we've already got 5 in that city, we don't need any more. They're viewing it as, do we have one in every neighborhood? And if you think about your city, it's probably quite, normal cities are like large-ish, right? But they have so many neighborhoods in them. And they're all these little like tiny communities, right? That all connect together. And that's what Starbucks is trying to do. So when you think about your mission, you want to think in those terms. Who am I helping? What am I doing? How am I helping people? And what is my mission? Like, how am I going to get to that achieve that goal? So I have some things here. I'm actually going to share a free thing at the end. It's going to have all this information in it. So you can definitely go back and look at it. I'm just going to kind of flip through this a little bit because I want to get to some other things. So you need to know yourself and what you're offering. And I know you guys have been working on offer and everything, but knowing yourself is so important. A lot of times we are our own demographic. We are our own niche client because we've actually created something that we were missing in our lives or that we saw a lack of. And we're like, why doesn't this exist? This needs to exist. I needed this at one point, or I need this now. I'm going to create it. I'm going to make it exist. And now we can have it exist for others, right? And so if we know ourselves, we almost know our own ideal client at the same time. And then knowing what we offer, sometimes it's just about sitting down and writing it all out. I actually had to do this a couple of weeks ago. I was getting so overwhelmed with all of the things that I do offer because I have so many. And I feel like I'm constantly adding them because, entrepreneurs, #serial. And so I was constantly adding things. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to write everything down that I'm doing. And I'm going to put all of it in one page. Not like one page, like one document, right? So I opened up Google Docs and I started typing out, okay, what do I offer? What's my biggest, most expensive thing that I offer that I sell all the time? In a day sessions. Oh, not in a day sessions, in a week sessions, right? So I started like layering it, everything I could think of that I offered. And then I started realizing I had duplicate stuff. I had a ton of duplicate stuff. And then I actually started putting things together. Why is this separate from this? Why do I offer these two things? They're like the same. If I put them together, they'd be even more valuable. And then I could have one thing that was really valuable instead of two kind of valuable things. And so I started doing that. And I have reduced the things that I offer by quite a bit. But it actually has made our team more focused because now we only have these few things to sell rather than like this laundry list of things to try and like sell or, share, right? So knowing your offering is just a matter of writing it down, literally. And I put it from free at the top of my list all the way to the most expensive at the bottom. And I just kept filling it in. Every time I thought of something, oh yeah, I did offer that one time. Oh yeah, I shared that one time. Oh yeah, I told this person about that, or I have a landing page for that. Started layering them in. And then I started combining things that I knew were similar. So it's really helpful to do that. All right, like I said, I'm going to share this with you guys so you can have it. I'm going to go through this really quickly. These are things you're going to be building in a typical like business plan. So if you're doing a business plan, you're going to kind of walk through those things. Some vision statement examples. I do like these. I do want to share this really quickly. TEDx or like TED Talks. Their vision statement is spread ideas. That's it. Literally 2 words. And it says everything about TEDx. So if you've ever seen a TED Talk, you know that this is truly the answer to their vision, right? This is what they're doing. And then Southwest Airlines says to become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. And if you look at that, they're kind of attacking 3 different parts of why someone would fly with them. To be the world's most loved, meaning that their customer service, what they offer is like so superb that you actually are like, oh, I love them, right? Then it's the most flown. How do they do that? By getting a lot of customers, more customers than the other guy. And then it's the most profitable. How do they do that? By making sure that they're managing their business well so that they can be more profitable, not that they're more expensive, that they are actually making more money between what you pay and what costs them to do business. And they're keeping track on that and keeping an eye on that. So those 3 things, they're connecting. And they're not saying this is what we are doing. They say this is what we want to become. That's what that vision statement is for. Mission statement is this is what we're doing right now. Like we saw Starbucks, it's happening right this minute. Vision statements, future looking. This is where we're going so you know and you can come with us, right? And you can help us to achieve these things. All right, target market analysis. This one is where you actually define who you're selling to and you know what you're selling, right? But then why do they care about it? Okay. When I define target market, I like to look at 2 things: who pays and who benefits. 2 separate things. Now, You might say, well, I'm working with entrepreneurs, and when they pay, they benefit, right? They're paying for a service, they're benefiting from it. That's actually okay. But a lot of times, these are two totally different people. If you look at the corporate structures and you look at people who are in business and they're account managers or HR directors or HR people or whatever, they work inside of a company. Okay. Now, when they go to a seminar or they sign up for a webinar or whatnot, they're using company money to pay for this item. It's not their money, maybe their budget, but it's technically not theirs, right? So they've been authorized by the company to use funds to do these things. So they're the one who benefits, but they are not the one who pays. So how can you appeal to the one who pays? Sometimes the HR directors are the ones choosing the seminars for the salesman, for whoever else in the company. And so there's this disconnect. Who's paying? How can I appeal to them? How can I make sure that they're comfortable with what I'm going to be sharing? And how can I benefit the person who's actually going to receive the information? I say the thing about HR directors and, salesmen or whatever, but there's also another simpler form of this. Have you ever purchased a toy? I think like everybody could raise their hand, right? If you ever purchased a toy, there's someone who pays and there's someone who benefits, and they are two totally different people. If you go and you purchase a Barbie doll, for example, typically, not in every case, but typically it's going to be for a child. And you as the adult are going to be the purchaser. You're the one with the cash. You're the one that's going to put out the money. And you're the one who has to look at that Barbie doll and go, is this age appropriate? Does this have the appropriate amount of accessories that I would expect when I pay X amount of dollars? Does this have the appropriate quality? Is this a quality level that I would expect? And is this going to be safe for my child or for my grandchild or my niece or my nephew or my whatever, right? So when you're looking at it, you have so many things in your mind that are going to affect which thing you purchase. And you're also looking at it saying, is my kid going to lose this? Are they going to break it in 5 seconds? Those kind of things. And then you have the person who benefits. Now, to appeal to the person who benefits, that's huge. You've seen toy commercials, right? They are talking a totally different game than the ones parents are thinking about, or grandparents or aunts and uncles, right? They're looking at it going, this kid's got to think this thing is cool. It's got to think that it's the latest. They got to think that it's going to make them cool in front of their friends. It's got to be fun to play with, right? So there's so much there. And what we want to do is take that, and this is what a lot of toy companies do. They take both of those things and they mush them together. Sometimes they'll talk to the kids, sometimes they'll talk to the parents, and then sometimes they'll try and talk to both at the same time, which is really hard to do. So when you're looking at your audience, if you've got a 2-in-1 audience, you have it easy. It's going to be easy for you. If the same person that pays, the same person that benefits, this is going to be a lot easier. But if you look at your audience and you realize that you have a payer and you have a benefiter, someone's going to benefit, yes, that's the right word, then you're going to see that you need to have 2 separate messages. They can be on the same channels, they can be on the same social, whatever, but you have to have 2 messages. Your brand needs 2 messages. So just keep that in mind. All right, then knowing your demographics. The demographics, like I said, sometimes you're your own demographic, right? And being your own demographic, it makes it so easy. What do you like? What do you dislike? What are some things that like really pet peeves that tick you off on social media? Don't do those. Just probably don't do those in general. But knowing your demographic can be really, really simple if you look to yourself and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of am my own demographic. I am unfortunately not my own demographic, so it's a little harder for me. My demographics is actually women, mostly women, some men, between the ages of 40 and like 60. And that's for marketing, because a lot of people in that age range start businesses later in life, or they have businesses that they've had for a while and they just haven't kept up with marketing in general because it's just gotten too overwhelming because it's like exploded in the last 5 or 10 years. And so then they come to us for help because we create everything really quickly and we can get them up to speed and we can also train them at the same time. So that's my ideal demographic. And the reason I know this is because that's who comes to me as clients. Do I get younger clients? Of course. Do I get older clients? Occasionally. But mostly the clients fall within that category. Mostly female, like 40 to 60, and they have businesses or they're starting businesses. So I know that because it's who I've worked with in the past and who has been my majority client. Now, if you don't have any clients yet, then you definitely want to look at maybe it's for yourself. Like you built this company because you were seeing a lack of something. Maybe you built the company because your parents were lacking something or your friends were lacking something. And so whatever reason you built the company, look at who you built it for and really narrow that down. All right. Client psychographics. This is another one. This one is really good. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. Let me see if I have. Nope, I don't have that other slide. There's actually a list. You can go on Google. You can go on Google and you can actually type in psychographics, just spelled like this, like psycho and the word graphics. It's kind of like demographics, but it's about their lifestyle, their attitudes towards things, their religious beliefs. It's more of this like internal personal thing. And what we do is we look at this in comparison with our demographics so that when we look at them together, we see a whole picture of a whole person. And this whole picture is going to help us to, it's going to help us to actually see who we are actually dealing with. And so when we create our messages, whether it's our buyer or our benefiter, or whether it's just their, the one person that we're putting their one person buying and benefiting at the same time, it's going to give us that picture that says, how do I need to talk to this person? What are they going to respond to? Now, I'm sure you've all seen brands that have, how do I say this delicately? Swear words in them. Have you seen a brand that has swear words in it where they okay, you've probably seen it at Barnes & Noble that they have all those books and they say like, un-F yourself and everything like that, right? And so you see all these books. Now, that might not be your thing. It's not my thing for sure. I don't swear in my business. It's just not what I do. But I also don't swear in my personal life. It's kind of like not my thing. Like I've just never did that. But some people, that's part of their lifestyle. It's part of their own like personal brand, if you will, but it's part of their life. It's just part of what they do. It's how they grew up. It's how maybe they went to college. Maybe they learned it somewhere else, but it's part of their life. It's part of their identity in a way. And it's part of this psychographics thing. So when we look at that and we say, okay, part of my person's psychographics, they're like my niche client, ideal client, is that they swear. That kind of gives you the leeway to use that in your own marketing, to speak to them in that way. And that's why I think those books are so successful, is because when someone sees that, now if someone sees someone like me sees it, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to be sworn at like in a whole book. I don't know if I could sit through that. It would almost feel like too much for me, right? It's just the way I am. But if someone else sees that and they're like, they are telling it to me straight. I need this book because this is like the only honest book I see on the shelf, right? And a lot of them are like self-help, personal development type books. And if they saw that and they were like, that, yes, finally, somebody's saying what no one else will say, that appeals to them, like that rebel, right? That's not me. And that's okay. It's not supposed to appeal to me. It's supposed to appeal to that person. That one person, even if it was just one person. Obviously, there's millions of them out there. They think similarly, right? And so that book is geared towards that person. That brand, that style is geared towards that person. I can't tell you how many marketers that I've come across in my career who use swear words as part of their vocabulary on a daily basis in phone calls with clients, and they also use them on their websites. And you know what I say? Go for it. Go for it, because you're going to attract a very specific kind of client. And a lot of times it's your ideal client because you're being honest, you're being truthful. And so when you look at the psychographics of someone and you're saying, what are their values? What are their, religious beliefs? What are their attitudes towards things? What is important to them? And you can see some of these things kind of come out of that woodwork. And you can also look at past clients. If you have past clients, this is the best way to find these things out, because you can kind of look at them as a group and start to pick out little individual things that start reappearing through multiple people. And when you find that, that allows you to craft those messages so specifically that it will always attract that type of client. And you'll basically never run out of clients. So think about that when you're trying to work through your messaging. Like, what do I say and how do I say that? How am I going to make sure that I really connect with these people that I'm trying to connect with? Making sure that you're honest and you're clear, but also use as few words as possible. But bring that psychographic into it. Bring that value into it. Bring their religious beliefs, if necessary, into it, right? So keep that in mind. All right, this is one of my favorite quotes from me. Finding a niche and sticking to it does not limit you. It does not limit you, but it focuses them. Now, who's them? Them is a word I use for everyone else. For everyone else. It focuses them because when you tell someone about what you do and who you're for, they make the conclusion in their mind of who they will tell or not tell. They automatically, it just comes to them. Oh, I need to tell so-and-so. It triggers something in their mind that goes back and says, conversation we had. It like has this whole filing system. The brain is amazing. And it says, oh, I know someone just like that. I need to tell them about this. And our ability to share and our need to communicate with others will automatically force this to happen. Whether we actually act on this or not is just a determination of if we are organized or if we have willpower to do things, and we're motivated to tell someone about this. But chances are we probably like our friend and we do want to do this. We do want to share this. So when you say, or I'll just give you my pitch, for example. My name is Elizabeth Pampalone. I'm with Absolute Marketing, and we create 1 year of marketing content in 5 days for women-owned firms or women-owned businesses, right? Like, I'll throw that in there. Now, you probably already thought of somebody you could tell. And even if I didn't say women-owned businesses, you probably already thought of 2 or 3 people that you would be like, oh, they need that. I know a friend that needs that. So when you really get that message super clear and super tight, and you know who you're for and you know who you're not for, it makes all other decisions snap decisions, because this definitely will help you to not only narrow your focus for other people to remember you easier, because they'll know exactly kind of where you fit in their sphere of life, and who you are for and who you're not, but it also will help with other decisions. So I'll give you an example. We actually were deciding on if we were going to go to this conference in Virginia at the in next month, and we were looking at the pricing, and it was like, oh, I don't know, it's a toss up either way. And then I started looking at the schedule of speakers, who would be there, and who the target market was. When I started looking at that, I realized it was not our clientele. The people that were going to be there that we could network with, the people that the topics that were going to be spoken on, even though it seemed like an amazing thing on the outset, it was not our target market. It was not where we were going to gain the most. Now, one of my colleagues was a little disappointed we aren't going, but and the thing on, the headline was 300 CEOs will all come together. Who doesn't want to be around that? I mean, that would be amazing, right? But it wasn't our target market. It wasn't anyone that we could connect with and say, you're a great referral partner, or you are in the same field, let's collaborate, or even you need us, right? In that kind of networking environment, you don't want to just say, I want to sell something, but you want to build relationships that matter. And this, narrowing our niche, actually helped us to make a decision to not go and not spend the money on that event, but to go to a different event the next month in September and spend money on that event, because that's where our people are. So this is so helpful, not just for actually, marketing yourself, but like I said, all other marketing brands, once you create your brand, all your other marketing falls into place, even if it's a networking meeting or a summit you're trying to go to. And your client experience is part of that. So when your brand creates its message and its vision and its mission, and you know who you're targeting in your marketing, then your client experience becomes part of your brand. Because if you have a bad experience, I'm going to know, and I'm going to tell everyone that it was horrible, and I'm going to tell them who was horrible, right? I'm not going to tell them all. Sometimes I tell people who was great, but I'm more likely going to tell them, oh my gosh, wait till I tell you what happened at such and such. And they're going to really connect that to your brand. All right, I'm going to skip to a couple things. Oh, yes, let's talk about consistency really quick. who is probably the most consistent brand you've ever seen? Anybody have any ideas? This ring a bell? Maybe. Maybe this one. Maybe one of these. This is one of the most consistent brands on the planet. And they're one of my favorites also. But you can see how consistent they are with their colors, with their fonts, all of it. And so this kind of leads me to remind you that your colors and your fonts are super important. Do not go changing all this up every 5 minutes. This needs to be on point. Once you pick it, stick it, right? Pick it and stick to it. And make sure that your logo is not something that just you like, right? I've actually had people say, well, I like it. It's pretty. It's my favorite color. So does your client like it? If you are your own demographic, that might work. But if your client doesn't like it or they're not drawn to it, is it engaging or is it alienating them? Does it visually represent what you do? Or is it just some kind of like orb? It doesn't make sense, you know? And does it stay top of mind like Nike or Coca-Cola would for you? And why did you choose your brand colors? There's actually something called color psychology. And I want you to look that up on Google as well. Color psychology. I wrote an ebook on this. I love color psychology. And I actually have an entire course on branding, just kind of this course, but like more expanded. And I talk about color psychology because it actually, these colors you see here, the yellow, the magenta, the purple, orange, all of these colors have a feeling associated with them or multiple feelings. And so if you choose blue, but you don't actually mean that in your branding, your brand doesn't mean what blue means, and it doesn't convey what blue means, then blue is actually hurting your brand. Maybe you should have chosen magenta, or maybe you should have chosen red. That would have actually conveyed your message better, because colors have meaning and feeling. And when we see colors, we are immediately drawn to them for one reason or another. And you want to make sure you look up color psychology because all of these mean something different. You might actually find that you chose the right colors and you're on the right track, but you also might find that you chose the complete wrong colors and it's very easy to change those. So here's just some brand guidelines that I created for some of my clients. I always like to create a document for this for every client. So make sure that if you don't have something like this, that you create one. I have some templates in my course on branding, but it's just putting the color with the number because you want to keep these together. You're going to need those for creating all of your, social media and your email marketing and all that stuff. I like to put the logo there, and I also like to tell what fonts are used. So you can see here what fonts we used. This one up here has like a little extra little watermark. We created a square logo for her so that she could put it on social media as well. So just some little things to keep in mind when you're talking about your brand. Here are some other logos that I created. They should be very simple. And these are all pretty simple, but you can tell that they're very unique and very specific to each type of business that they are. So even some of them are very orb-like, right? Very kind of random orbs, but they still convey a meaning for each of those brands. And then when you actually create a brand, when you create the logo, here are some file formats that you would need for your business. Some designers do not give you these, and I think that's unfortunate. So I want to recommend that you screenshot this or take a picture so that you can actually go to your designer if you have not gotten all of these items and get all of them. They should also have given you a brand document as well. Okay, here's my other question. But I have a logo already and I like it. One person with passion is better than merely 40 people with merely interest. If you are really serious about your business and you have a logo already, you will go back through and you will look and see, do my colors mean what they mean? Do I have brand documents that can back up what my brand is? So I have this I'm consistent with it every time. And is it simple? And does it mean what I want it to mean when someone just glances at it? And then am I consistent with it? If you can say yes to all those things, then you are a person with passion. And that is better than 40 people with merely interest in their business. So I am done. And I hope that you will let me know if you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I love teaching about this stuff. It's my favorite. And yeah, so thank you so much, Brian.
Awesome. That was great. Great. We'll put it here. Amazing. And wow, You, we do have questions. The
Okay, awesome.
first question is this, because there was a lot there.
Yes.
Do you have a branding checklist?
I do. I do. It's actually in our course. I
Okay.
decided to make a course than just like free
Okay.
little things. But we also have a free 5-day challenge that has part of that in there as well.
Okay. So I'm sure you'll get that to me so we can get that out to people.
Yes.
All right. Here's another question here. Do we all have a brand that matters, that makes a difference? Because I think that's something that people like, I don't have anything special kind of thing, I guess is the question.
Yes. Actually, every single person that creates a brand does, but it's about how you go about it, right? So if you just create a brand and you're like, oh, I'll just pick a logo or I'll get it on Fiverr or whatever, you're not putting enough emphasis in the fact that you have something that does matter. And when you create that, you want to put enough effort into it so that other people see that value as well. And I think that's where we kind of get the disconnect is we don't think it's that much that special, or we're like, yeah, I do that all the time. It's no big deal. And this is where we come into not charging enough for our services, not realizing that we have something that does matter. And so when we put the value on it, others are able to see that value as well. So if we don't think we have something that's valuable or that matters, then that will come through to our customers, our clients. And what we want to do is realize that if there are people out there that need what we're offering, then it matters. Even if it's just one person, 10 people, those people weren't being helped until you came along for whatever the thing is you're helping them with. So I do believe that everybody does.
Okay, last question, and probably one of my questions too, I guess. Like, how do you know you have the right colors? I guess 'cause I think that's a big question.
Color
Yeah.
psychology. You can look it up on Google. There's tons of like images and stuff that tell you exactly what each color means. Some of them are going to be a little different. So you're going to see like, 5 or 10 that look really similar, but they're going to have different words associated with orange or different words associated with red. And what you want to do is just look up a couple of them, kind of get a consensus. What does blue mean? What does green mean? And then once you kind of know the consensus, look at the colors you've chosen and see if that's what you meant your brand to mean. That makes sense. If you intended for your brand to mean, let's say, for example, mine's green, it means health, wealth, it means clean, fresh, starting over, almost like rebirth, new. That's what my brand kind of wants. I want to embody. I want people to know that their websites don't have to be cluttered. Their branding doesn't have to be impossible. Their marketing doesn't have to be so overwhelming, right? Because it's clean. We're going to clean the slate. We're going to start over. It's going to be great. And it's going to be fresh. And it's not going to be overwhelming, right? So like plants and, new growths and like green grass, it's not overwhelming, right? It's like calming. But then if you use red or orange, that's actually like a action item. Like, okay, we want you to take action on this. You need to get on this right now. That's that call to action where you're like, this is a motivating thing. We got to get up and move, right? And so just look at your colors and then look at what those words are that are associated with that color and then decide, am I still in this space? Sometimes we change over time. Even though I've been Absolute Marketing for a while, green was a part of it from the beginning. But before that, my other brands, they were all over the map. I didn't have green anywhere. So definitely look at what the colors mean and make sure that you're still in that place, because you might not change your name over time, but you could change your colors.
Awesome. That's great. That's great because I think people. I had somebody that I know of who just changed their colors, and I think it was an amazing change. So I'm
It
glad
makes
to
such a
hear.
difference.
Yeah.
It's all psychological.
I'm gonna be doing some Googling tonight. So amazing stuff, Elizabeth. I am so happy that you got here and said yes to me for this. This was amazing. People jump on it. And where should they be going after the show to get to you?
I put a link in the chat for you. So if you pop that in, it's getabsolutemarketing.com. And if you go to the bottom of the page, or if you go to /community, it will actually allow you to join our free community. And you can get the free 5-day challenge, which has branding, website, social media, blogging, and email marketing, all part of that challenge.
Nice.
And so it's like a little taste of the branding course, a little taste of the social course. Like they're all like a little taste of each one, but you can kind of get a lot done in the 5 days. And then, yeah, just go to that website. And we also have a free pro toolkit, which is all the tools we use for everything that we do, all of our social tools, all of our emailing tools, invoicing tools, everything that we use to run our successful 6+ figure business. It's all in the pro toolkit. It's on the website.
Great. Awesome. I love it. Absolutely amazing. Thanks so much for coming on. And I think we're good. I think we're good for today. This is
awesome.
Great.
Well, you got to get on some stuff now. You guys got some knowledge now. You got to go practice.
Absolutely. Tomorrow, people, day 7, we got we got a couple of things coming. We got Mike Killing coming on. I do believe we got who is it? I'm drawing a blank. But we're going to talk about charging what we're worth and how to do it. Mike Killing's going to kill it tomorrow. And yeah, we got another person on. I'm so sorry. I'm going to run a blank, but it's going to be amazing. Great stuff. I already seen some of the things he put in there. So awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And please get into that into what she's offering here, because I think everybody, it's something that we don't really talk about a lot, or people don't really dive into, because it's just maybe they don't believe it. Possibly, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think the brand often gets lost. People go straight to social media. Whenever they got something new to share, they're like, social media, got to get on it. And what we really believe is that 5-pillar approach. You got branding, website, social media, blogging, and email marketing. If you can do all 5 of those things and you can get them done for the whole year in just 5 days, smooth sailing. You can work on your business and actually sell sell the stuff you're trying to sell, and not have to worry so much about all this stuff, because it should not be this difficult, right? It should be easier than it ends up turning out to be. So we try to make it a lot simpler and give you all the tools you need and all the facts, so that you're not sitting there just beating your head against the wall, which is what I always feel like anyway.
Awesome. So I remember now I figured out Glenn Allen's coming tomorrow about showing you how to do your lead magnet, a killer lead magnet for you guys. So
definitely need that.
Yes. So there it is. So I guess we're good to go. We're good to go. Thank you so much. And yeah, we're done for day 6.
Thanks for having me back.
I appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on day 7. Take care. Be blessed.